Hey, let me get a better. There we go. Hey, good morning. Hey guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It is me, your favorite plant guy, Christopher J. Grant, CJG. And here we are in nature. Trees. No, fuck those. I hate pepper trees. But anyway, here's Chance. Chance, say hello. Hey. Say hello. Look at the... There he is. You can see me. He's distracted. He's looking at birds and shit. But yeah, so continuing the video series, I haven't uploaded the last couple videos yet. Facebook's being a bitch with these videos like longer than a couple minutes. You know, like it doesn't like these 45-minute videos, so whatever. Put it on YouTube and you can go watch it and not be a boob. Because why I'm doing this is because I want people to be unignorant of their government. Right? It's our government. So I am making these videos, understanding things the best I can, the best how I understand it. You know, I'm no, political savant or prodigy child when it comes to these things, but I think it's important that we actually understand what these entities, these government bodies, what they do and why they do it, how they do it, and more importantly, how they can do it better. You know, and yeah, you're gonna have to deal with my nose because it's always runny, just like Trump. Anyway, so I guess today is gonna be on display from the menu. I guess is the one on the menu. We're gonna dive deeper into the judicial system. I touched on it a little bit in past videos here and there, but I think it's the judicial system is so important, especially in our country, because some countries don't have the judicial system we have, like North Korea or Russia, what have you. They don't have an independent judiciary body that is supposedly, quote, air quotes, nonpartisan. But we're losing. We're giving it away, throwing out the baby with the bathwater to enrich people that don't give a fuck about you. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Peter Thiel, the Ellisons. These people don't give a fuck about you. And those are MAGA. So, we're going to talk about justice in this country. And what justice is, what justice means, how it's implemented. Mind you, disclaimer, these are my opinions. You know, I did not write a script. I did not do any research before I did this. I'm just kind of flying off the cuff here on the things that I know, the things that I understand, and yeah. So, hey, You want to see Chance again? Chance, hey. Oh, he's all focused on other shit. Hi. Oh, you're so pretty. Hello. All right. So, in the justice system in this country, you have a tiered system of bodies that make up the justice system. This is separate from the Justice Department, the DOJ. So, under our system of the judicial branch, the checking and balancing part of the government, a citizen can have an issue and they can take that issue to the municipal courts. You know, if it's hey, my landlord didn't pay me rent, or maybe my tenant didn't pay my rent, someone harmed me in some way, workplace issues, personal issues, you know, like the whole Judge Judy thing or the People's Court, those are municipal civil court issues. And a lot of those aren't brought on by the district attorney. They're brought on by people who file a case. Oh, look, he just loves the water. Hey, don't get all muddy. Take a drink and let's go. You know, so we have, you know, like for instance, in our local jurisdiction in Ventura County, you have the Ventura County Superior Court. And all counties in California, like all counties in all states, have these court systems. And they're paid for by county, state, and local taxes. Again, the importance of taxation through representation is what drives the engine. They need money to pay for the building, to pay for the employees. You know, for instance, in our county, the county supervisors are elected, and they then appoint judges. Sometimes it's the governor that's appointment for judges. And sometimes judges are just hired as a judge. And then you have... Sorry, I almost ate shit there. You have... Come on. Hi. Hey, come on. Come on. Hi. Hello. He's real sweet. She was having none of that. But anyway, so the judicial system, county municipal courts. No, they're mowing the grass here. We can't go. I don't know what kind of mower that thing is, but it's a weird looking mower. Anyway, they really just cut this grass so short. I don't like cutting grass short. It should be tall. Some moisture retention. Anyway, sorry. I am the Ojai plant guy, by the way. So anyway, the courts. Now, in our county, Ventura County in California, we have our municipal courts. So the DA, district attorney, and the chief public defender are elected by the people. They then hire out employees to, run that office, that entity. And, there was a time, I think it was maybe before the 60s, there was a time not that long ago, far away, that we didn't have public defenders, where if you were called upon to come to court through a DA subpoena or summons, you were just left to fend on your own. And so I think it was around the time of the Miranda arrest that started the Miranda right readings and other things. They decided, no, this is not fair for those who are quote unquote indigent. I don't like to use the word indigent. It has such a bad connotation, not denotation, connotation, negative con. It has a bad negative appearance to it. And so I lost my train of thought here. The connotation, the negative. Indigent, yes. So I would like to, I use the word people who were less fortunate, low income, what have you. But someone who doesn't have the someone who doesn't have the money like my parents, who could go out and hire an attorney at a drop of a hat and pay the money for that. For those who, sorry, I like to stick my tongue out at cameras. Those who don't have that, get appointed by the state, by the county, by the courts, get appointed a public defender who will represent them and hopefully fight on their behalf to either get their case resolved, dropped, eliminated, dismissed, yada, yada, yada. I call them public pretenders because they're kind of, they kind of work with the DA a little too much, I think. And mind you, they're separate. The monies that pay the DA, that pay the public defender, do come from the county, supervisors, but they're separate, accounts. So they really try hard to be impartial when it comes to that form of, comes to the judiciary. They really try hard, make an effort. And that's all you can ask for. It's like, I just want, the notion that you are trying to be nonpartisan, impartial, and provide justice. Because, mind you, there's a reason why Lady Justice is blind and she's holding up the scales, right? It's because she's supposed to not be part of the scale tipping. She's only what's supposed to happen is evidence gets put on one scale, the prosecution gets put on one scale, they look at the result, Lady Justice takes off her blindfold, looks at the result, and says, there you go, impartial. We just measured the two things against each other. There you go. And they're doing some yard work. What is that? I don't know what the machine is, but so within the Superior Court, you have, say you go through the Superior Court process and you don't like the ruling. What do? Right? You can appeal. But that doesn't include the public defender, though. At that point, you have to then hire a public defender, hire an attorney, because under law, the initial cases have the public defender, not your appeal. So, it's a little plug thingy. Look. It takes these little plugs out of the ground. It aerates it. It aerates the ground. It's actually great. So anyway, and it also kind of fertilizes later, but anyway. So say you get convicted of a crime. You go to court. You go to trial. You don't get the outcome you wanted. You can appeal it. And you take that to the appellate courts. And there are, within every state, there are multiple jurisdictions of the appellate court. In California and here in Ventura County, I believe we're the 5th district. And that courthouse is in Ventura, the city of Ventura, on whatever, Figueroa Street, I think it is. Most courts are on Figueroa Street for whatever, but same thing in Santa Barbara. If you want to find a court, it's on Figueroa Street. So, I want you to understand that the court system is really the fail-safe when it comes to democracy. Because, all right, you get charged with a crime, you feel you were wrongly convicted of that crime, you go to trial, you file motions, you don't get the result you want, you go to the appellate courts. And usually appellate courts don't have juries. They have it's usually like a 3-judge panel, 4-judge, 5-judge, whatever. It's a panel. And those judges, and it's usually an odd number, because that way you don't have a deadlock. That's why you have odd numbers of astronauts, right? You want a 50-50 split doesn't work with democracy, right? You need a 60-40 kind of thing to happen. So now the appellate courts, right? So you go through the appellate court process, and that doesn't work. Well, then you go to the federal appellate courts, and those are regional court systems. Like you have the Southern District of New York, you have the Eastern District of whatever, the Western District of that, the blah, 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 blah. Oh, hey, fuck yeah. I found a quarter. I am now 25 cents richer. 25 cents more rich, 20, whatever. So anyway, now the appellate court doesn't go your way. You then take it to the federal appellate courts and wind your way through there. Different court, different jurisdictions usually run different things, yada yada. So you go to the federal appellate courts, which is a similar issue with a panel of judges. As I understand it. I don't think they might have juries in the federal appellate courts, but like I said, I'm not an expert on these things, but I'm giving you the information I have. So, that doesn't work. Well, you can appeal your case all the way up to the highest court in the land, the federal Supreme Court, which is also a panel of jurists. They're not called judges, they're called jurists. And each judge, there's 9 of them. There used to be less. Like when the country was founded, I think, now my nose. I think it was like 3 or 4 or something. And now it's 9. I think we haven't done that since like the 40s. So I think it's time to maybe move it up to like 12 or something, right? To be more inclusive and nonpartisan, right? So now you take your case to the Supreme Court, right? And the Supreme Court rules, hey, those lower courts were wrong. And depending on what happens next, changes a whole lot of things. Because usually what happens when the Supreme Court rules on something, that becomes a court precedent. Not a president, a precedent. And that precedent is usually upheld by the lower courts. For instance, Roe v. Wade, the abortion legislation. So once the Supreme Court ruled that Roe v. Wade, or that it was unconstitutional to deny a woman a right to choose, it rippled down to the rest of the court system, and so now all courts recognize that. And that's why you have a Supreme Court to, mind you, the Supreme Court has also, in the Supreme Court building, has the highest court in the land, in that it's a basketball court up on the second floor, I think, third floor. You know, the Supreme Court building isn't that old. It was only built in like the 40s, I think, the 50s. Before that, you know, the Supreme Court used to be in one of the attic buildings of the Congress building. I think it was the old Senate building, or the old Senate room before they built a new one. So fast forward to today, right? You have issues going on with government overreach. You know, you have issues with, you know, the government powers, the entities not checking each other. So the Supreme Court has 9 judges, and what was unprecedented in 2008, I believe it was, when we lost a justice. I forget which one it was. I think it was Kennedy retired or something. And so Obama had I believe it was his 3rd appointment to the Supreme Court. He had Elena Kagan and Sonia Sotomayor, which is how Jeff Sessions used to pronounce it. Sotomayor. He'd really, like, whatever it is. Sotomayor. Bigots, racist. What can you do? So he was denied that by the Senate minority leader. Not the majority leader, the minority leader. And even though the Senate had the Democrats had control of the Senate, they did not have the testicles to allow their duly elected president, who is also a Democrat, to appoint his final Supreme Court justice. That is probably one of the, I think, biggest mistakes and the most powerful decision a president can make. I don't think they should have left it in the hands of the president to be the Supreme Court appointment god. I think they should have had some sort of a non-partial body, you know, that was made up of 4 Democrats, 4 Republicans, and 2 independents or something. But what can you do? The Founding Fathers had no idea that Trump was going to get elected. So Trump then gets elected in 2016. And he then appoints a replacement. And so then you had another retirement. And then you had the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And so then Trump got appointment. So he got Obama's appointment, which was filled by Trump and Neil Gorsuch, Justice Gorsuch. And then Ruth Bader Ginsburg, someone else retired, and then he got to replace them, Trump did, with Brett Kavanaugh, who, that's a whole video in itself. And then Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, which everyone said, you should just retire when Obama was president. And no, I'm going to keep going even though I'm 87 years old or something, but whatever. So she then gets replaced by this Handmaid's Tale woman. I call her the Handmaid's Tale woman. ABC or Amy Coney Barrett. ACB. Yeah, Amy Coney Barrett. Now, the Supreme Court has been kind of wishy-washy lately, where sometimes they'll rule in favor of Trump, which is the majority of the time, where all the conservative justices rule one way and the 3 liberals rule the other. But sometimes you have, like what happened with the tariffs, you have the court actually doing its job with checking and balancing of the other bodies of government. And in that case of the tariffs, the Chief Justice appointed by Bush and Neil Gorsuch appointed by Trump ruled against the other dissenting conservative justice, Justice Alito, Justice Thomas, and Justice Kavanaugh. They said, tariffs are unconstitutional because taxation should be done through representation. And when they say taxation through representation, what they mean is taxes are levied by the legislative branch. They have the power of the purse, or they used to anyway, before our current Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, gave his balls away. But it just shows you that even though we have a very conservative court, they are doing their job somewhat in checking and balancing the powers of government. And they said in their ruling, they said this is the job of the House of Representatives and the Senate. This is not the job of the This is not the job of the executive, because, and say it with me now, the executive branch, the president, does not make laws. And I repeat, the executive branch, the president, does not make laws. He can sign executive order after executive order, but none of those are laws, and all of those most likely will get replaced by the next president, which they used to never do, but yeah. So anyway, now the court system gets his money through the government, through, most likely, most times, through the general fund. No, come on, can't do this. Sorry, he's being a little, no, I really gotta go to the bathroom. But I'm gonna finish this video at least. So, I think the importance of the judiciary being impartial, non-biased, is extremely important to our democracy. Come on, get over it. You're not dragging me down the street. Ooh, I know. You see another dog, but they don't want to say hello. They don't. We tried. I said hello, and they don't want to say it. So, I think I'm going to cut this video short here. Maybe I'll come back after I use the restroom, but yeah. The judiciary is extremely important to the health. No. To the health and longevity of our republic, of this democracy, of our government. No. Not going in the fucking street. God damn it, dude. He sometimes just doesn't want to behave. I brought cookies. Cookies? Cookies. No, whatever. He's not listening. No, I don't. No, I gotta go to the bathroom. No, we're not going over there today. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you. I love you. Here's Chance again. Before I get over here. He's trying to go across the street to visit, but we did that yesterday, and I did that yesterday, and I'm gonna pee my pants. So, yeah. Oh, come on. I gotta go to the bathroom. Bye.